श्रीमते भक्ति वेदांत स्वामिनिति नामिने। नमस्ते सारस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणे। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय।
ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय।
ओम भगवते वासुदेवाय।
ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय।
ओम भगवते वासुदेवाय।
ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय।
नारायणं नमस्कृत्यं नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरयेत्। नष्टप्रायेषु अभद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया भगवति उत्तमश्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्ठिकी। कृष्णे स्वधामोपगते धर्मज्ञानादिभिः सह कलौ नष्टदृशामेषा पुराणार्को धुनोदितः। Hare Krishna. So we are going to discuss this verse from the fourth canto, ninth chapter, which is entitled Dhruva Maharaj Returns Home. So yesterday we discussed the first verse spoken by Dhruva Maharaj when he saw Lord Vishnu in front of his eyes, and he was not able to think of, he has a desire to praise the Supreme Lord, but he could not think of suitable words to worship him. And then thinking about his desire, Lord touches him in the conch shell and he starts praising the Lord. So, and Dhruva Maharaj came to the Madhuvan and started doing the meditating on the Supreme Lord. And within 6 months, he could actually please the Supreme Lord. He was so determined. So in this verse, before coming to this verse, he mentions in the verse number 7 that there are different manifestations of Lord's energies, Atma Shakti and Maya Shakti. That is under the control of the Supreme Lord. Then he says, you are the only shelter for all the living entities, even for Lord Brahma and everyone in this universe. And then in the 9th verse, it is told that foolish people influenced by your Maya worship you for material benedictions. And he considered himself as foolish because he has come to have a kingdom greater than his father and grandfather. So he's thinking that way. But which are available in the hell, he says, foolish people influenced by your Maya worship you for material benedictions, which are available even in hell. Like a desire tree, and you are like a desire tree, kalpataru, and the cause of liberation, bhavapriya vimokshanam. So telling about that you are a kalpataru, and what do we ask? We ask material benedictions only. We could ask for something very eternal, but we ask for material things only. Like he is considering himself in that place. Now in this verse, he talks about what is the ultimate bliss one can get. What are the sources of bliss, real bliss? Happiness and bliss have two different, like happiness may be temporary, but bliss is something, when the word bliss comes, it has more deeper meaning than happiness. Bliss is a happiness in continuum. It always remains. It never leaves that person. So this verse is telling about what are the sources of happiness. This is Dhruva Maharaj appreciating Lord Vishnu, who is standing in front of Dhruva Maharaj, and very close association, and he is looking at the Lord and praising Lord like this. So let's recite this verse. Ya nivritis tanubhritam tava pada padma.
या
निवृत्तिस्तनुभृतां तव पादपद्मा
ध्यानात् भवज्जन कथा श्रवणेन वाक्या.
ध्यानात् भवजन कथा
ध्यानाद्भवजनकथाश्रवणेन
श्रवणेन
वास्यात्
सा ब्रह्मणि स्वमहिमन्यपि नाथमाभूत्
सा ब्रह्मणि स्वमहिमान्यपि नातमाभूत्
किं त्वन्तकासि लुलितात् पततां विमानात्
किं त्वा
किं
अन्तकाशिलुलितात् पततां विमानात्
One more time. या निवृत्तिस्तनुभृतं तव पादपद्मा
या निवृत्तिस्तनुभृतां तव पादपद्मा
भवज्जनकथा श्रवणेन वा स्यात्
ध्यानात्
भवजन कथा
भवज्जनकथाश्रवणेन वा स्यात्
स्यात्
सा ब्रह्मणि स्वमहिमन्यपि नाथमाभूत्
सा
सा
ब्रह्मणि
ब्रह्मणि
स्वमहिमान्यपि नातमाभूत्
किं पुमन्तलुलितां विमानात्
किं त्वान्तकाशिलुलितात्
पततां
पततां विमानात्
विमानात्
time. या निवृत्तिस्तनुभृतां तव पादपद्मा
या निवृत्तिस्तनुभृतां तव पादपद्मा
ध्यानाद्भवज्जनकथा श्रवणेन वा स्यात्
ध्यानात् भवज्जनकथाश्रवणेन वा स्यात्
सा ब्रह्मणि स्वमहिमान्यपि नाथमाभूत्
सा ब्रह्मणि स्वमहिमान्यपि नातमाभूत्
किं पुमन्तकासुलितात् पततां विमानात्
किं त्वान्तकाशिलुलितात् पततां विमानात्
Please recite.
हरे कृष्ण प्रभु
Hare Krishna Mataji.
या निवृत्तिस्तनुभृतां तव पादपद्मा
या निवृत्तिस्तनुभृतां
अनुवृत्तिस्तनुभृतां तव पादपद्मा
ध्यानात् भवज्जनकथाश्रवणेन वा स्यात्
ध्यानात् भवजन कथा श्रवणेन वा स्यात्
सा ब्रह्मणि स्वमहिमान्यपि नातमाभूत्
सा
सा ब्रह्मणि स्वमहिमान्यपि नातमाभूत्
किं त्वान्तकाशिलुलितात् पततां विमानात्
किं
त्वान्तकाशिलुलितात् पततां विमानात्
थैंक यू प्रभु हरे कृष्ण
हरे कृष्ण प्रभु I can try. या निवृत्तिस्तनुभृतां तव पादपद्मा
या
निवृत्तिस्तनुभृतां तव पादपद्मा
ध्यानात् भवजन कथा श्रवणेन वा स्यात्
ध्यानात्
भवज्जनकथाश्रवणेन वा स्यात्
सा ब्रह्मणि स्वमहिमान्यपि नाथमाभूत्
सा ब्रह्मणि
स्वमहिमान्यपि नाथमाभूत्
किं त्वं अन्तकाशिलुलितात् पततां विमानात्
किं
अन्तकाशिलुलितात् पततां विमानात्
हरे कृष्ण
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Mataji. Anybody else? Anybody wants to try? Who have never tried?
Hare Krishna Prabhu, I will try Prabhu.
Okay, Hari Hari. Please try. Please
या
recite.
निर्वृतिस्तनुभृतां तव पादपद्मा
या निवृत्तिस्तनुभृतां
निवृत्तिस्तनुभृतां तव पादपद्मा
ध्यानाद्भवज्जनकथाश्रवणेन वा स्यात्
ध्यानात्
ध्यानाद्भवज्जनकथाश्रवणेन वा स्यात्
स्यात्
सा ब्रह्मणि स्वमहिम्यान् अपि नातमाभूत्
सा
सा
ब्रह्म
ब्रह्मणि स्वमहिमान्यपि
स्वमहिमान्यपि
नातमाभूत्
किन्तु अन्तकासिलुलिता पततां विमानात्
किं
त्वन्तकाशिलुलिता पततां विमानात्.
Thank you, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Thank you so much. So here Dhruva Maharaj is describing the two important aspects of bliss. Only by two means one can get peace in this world. So he is describing here. So he says, Ya nivritim tanuvrutam tava pada padma. So Ya means because this is in continuation of his description of the glory. So that's how the Sanskrit is flowing. So Ya means that which, and nivritti means, nivritti may have many meanings, but one meaning is the bliss. In this context is the bliss. Tanubhritam who have embodied this tanu. Okay. Nivritti means bliss. So bliss is very deep happiness, very concentrated happiness, you can say. So that how it comes? By two different ways. Tava pada padma dhyanad, by thinking or meditating on your lotus feet. That is one. What is the second one? Bhavajjana katha shravanena vasya. The second thing is Bhavajjana katha. Bhavajjana means the persons who are pure devotees of the Lord, in their association, hearing Hari Katha. These are the two ways one can achieve the ultimate bliss in entire universe. So there is no other way. Happiness is on a very lower level, but bliss is only achieved by these two methods. Then how good is that? Then it is compared that how good is that bliss. Sa Brahmani Swa Mahimanyapi. Brahmani is the Brahma platform. Brahma platform Swa Mahima. Prabhu's Lord's Mahima as the form of Brahma. And Brahmananda. We're talking about Brahmananda. And that Brahmananda, people, the Gyanis, or they want to achieve. How? By merging with the Supreme. Sayujya Mukti. But that is not Mahabhut. That is nothing compared to what we have discussed, these two different places. Tava Pada Padma Dhyanat and Bhavajjana Katha Shravana. These two things. And what else he says? Na kim tvantaka tva antakasi lulita. Antakasi. Antakasi means the sword. Asi means the sword. Antaka means which kills. So the sword of death. So kim tu antakasi lulitat. Lulitat here is being destroyed by that sword. Patatam vimana. So how it is compared? Like for example, when we have our pious credits. So to enjoy those pious credits, we go to the heavenly planets. How much credit is there, we can enjoy that much. And after that, then when the sword of death comes means it is all done. Then again you fall down to this material plane and take birth again. So that is how Patatam Vimanat, like you would see in the purport, Srila Prabhupada says, it is just like when the Viman is going on. Viman means the aeroplane is going on the horizon. It can go until it has the fuel. Once it is out of fuel, falls down. Or it cannot remain there. It doesn't fall down because otherwise pilots, before the fuel runs out, pilot lands. Otherwise, it's danger. So Patatam Vimana, that is being given as an example by Dhruva Maharaj. So let's read the translation now.
Hare Krishna Prabhu.
Hare Krishna.
My Lord, the transcendental bliss derived from meditating upon your lotus feet or hearing about your glories from pure devotees is so unlimited that it is far beyond the stage of Brahmananda. wherein one thinks himself merged in the impersonal Brahman as one with the Supreme. Since Brahmananda is also defeated by the transcendental bliss derived from devotional service, then what to speak of temporary blissfulness of elevating oneself to the heavenly planets, which is ended by separating sword of time. Although one may be elevated to the heavenly planets, he falls down in due course of time. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much. So Srila Prabhupada very beautifully put that in translation. All the pieces together. So transcendental bliss derived from two things: meditating upon your lotus feet and hearing about your glories from pure devotees. And how is that? It is so blissful and so unlimited that Brahmananda is nothing in front of it. So that pleasure that one gets by merging into impersonal Brahma. Now, what to talk about if Brahmananda is not equal to that, is defeated by this transcendental bliss? What to talk about the Ananda one gets in the heavenly planets? Just by getting the prize credits, go to the heavenly planets, enjoy there. But then the sword of time cuts the thing and he falls down. So there is a contrast I now remember about, if you know about one of the ancestors of Lord Ramachandra is Maharaj Khatwanga. So Maharaj Khatwanga was in the heavenly planets fighting for the demigods there. So he was fighting, and then when the Yuddha was complete and he was asked, he pleased all the demigods, and Lord Indra asked him that what benediction, ask for any benediction, we want to give you the benediction. He tells, oh, before you tell me, you tell me how much time I have to live, because there is a finite lifetime everybody had. So Indra says, you have, okay, I can tell you, you have only one moment. So immediately he comes from the heavenly planets to the earthly planets. That within that one moment, he leaves everything, goes to, he focuses on the lotus feet of Supreme Lord and leaves his body. And why that happened? Because he has practiced that before also by thinking about the Lord. So he thought, oh, one moment, or that moment, I don't want to waste that moment, because I can die any moment. So just knowing one moment, actually, according to Sanskrit calculation, is 48 minutes in our calculation. So that one moment, 48 minutes, he could actually do all his things and went back to Godhead. That was his his devotion there. So here it says, after doing that, one falls down because of the pious credits being done. And think about devotees like Khatwang Maharaj. He even from heavenly planets, he comes down with the thought of pleasing the Supreme Lord. So just it reminded me that story that I put here. Let's read the purport.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
The transcendental bliss derived from devotional service, primarily from Shravanam, Kirtanam, hearing and chanting, cannot be compared to the happiness derived by karmis by elevating themselves to the heavenly planets, or by Gyanis or Yogis, who enjoy oneness with the Supreme Personal Brahman. Yogis generally meditate upon the transcendental form of Vishnu, but devotees not only meditate upon him, but actually engage in the direct service of the Lord. In the previous verse, we find the phrase Bhava Pyaya, which refers to birth and death. The Lord can give relief from the chain of birth and death. It is a misunderstanding to think, as do the Monias, that when one gets relief from the process of birth and death, he merges into the Supreme Brahman. Here it is clearly said that the transcendental bliss derived from the Shravanam Kirtanam by pure devotees cannot be compared to Brahmananda, or the impersonal conception of transcendental bliss derived by merging into the Absolute. Should I continue, Prabhu?
Yeah, you can continue, Prabhu. Otherwise, if somebody wants to read and yeah.
Somebody else can read. the positions of karmis is still more degraded. Their aim is to elevate themselves to the higher planetary systems. It is said, Yanti Deva Vrata Devan. Persons who worship the demigods are elevated to the heavenly planets, Bhagavad Gita 9.25. But elsewhere in Bhagavad Gita 9.21, we find Shine Punya Mritaya Lokam Vishanti. Those who are elevated to the higher planetary systems must come down again as soon as the results of their pious activities are exhausted. They are like the modern astronauts who go to the moon. As soon as the fuel is used up, they are obliged to come back down to this earth. As the modern astronauts who go to the moon or other heavenly planets by force of jet propulsion have to come down again after exhausting the fuel, so also do those who are elevated to the heavenly planets by force of yajnas and pious activities. Antakashi Lulita, by the sword of time, one is cut from his exalted position within this material world, and he comes down again. Dhruv Maharaj appreciated that the results of devotional service are far more valuable than merging into the absolute or being elevated to the heavenly planets. The words Patatam Vimanat are very significant. Vimana means airplane. Those who are elevated to the heavenly planets are like airplanes, which drop when they run out of fuel. Hare Krishna.
Thank you so much. Srila Prabhupada starts the purport. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. By describing the happiness derived by different type of, you can say, persons who are described as karmis, persons who are described as jnanis, and persons who are described as yogis. So three different, and then bhakta. So let's see. The transcendental bliss derived from devotional service, which is the bhakti, primarily from Shravanam and Kirtan. These are the two important angas of bhakti. That's why it starts, Prahlad Maharaj also starts Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu Smaranam. It starts from this. Hearing and chanting cannot be compared to the happiness derived by karmis. Karmis means who actually work on the principle of karma. That I will do some karma, I'll get some results. That is their main motive. So what they do? By elevating themselves to heavenly planets. How they do? By doing pious karma or by yajna. By doing yajnas to different demigods. So increasing their pious credits. And there is a yajna also described in the Vedic literature where you can do that yajna to go to the heavenly planets also after your lifetime ends. So, and the jnanis, another group of persons are jnanis. They look for jnana, but they want to understand all different aspects of the material world, and then what they, by Sankhya, they wanted to understand. After understanding, then they reach to the highest level of understanding. They think that now I'm free from all these miseries of the world, and then they try to merge into the in the Brahma effulgence. That is the moksha. They think about moksha because they have already they are fed up by dharma, artha, and kama, because it is not giving them the desired result. They are not feeling still happiness, so they try to merge without, and they don't know that Brahmananda is a part of the Supreme Bhagavan. But that is what we all also knew when we were there in India. Most of the people knows about this merging into the Lord, and that is the concept there, and that is the Jnani, the Mayavad concept of that. So Jnanis or yogis who enjoys oneness with the Supreme Impersonal Brahma. But yogis generally meditate upon the transcendental form. When that Jnani, of those Jnanis, some are yogis. So what they do, they meditate upon the Supreme Lord, and after meditating, they are only meditating upon, and then getting into that Brahmananda platform. But here, devotees not only meditate upon him, but actually engage in the direct service of the Lord. Meditation is one thing, but engaging, now here you can see how is a direct service. Tava pada padma dhyana. This is a direct service. So that is what is referred to here. In here, but devotees not only meditate, but in the previous verse there is a term called bhavapyaya, which refers to bhavasagar, or the cycle of birth and death. So Lord can give relief from the chain of cycle of birth and death to jnanis and yogis also when they go into the Brahmananda platform. But what happened? Again they return back. Patanti adha aruhya kruchena. There is a verse in Srimad Bhagavatam which tells that even they go there, but because they don't find any kind of reciprocation, they again fall down and to this material world. They don't want to live in that blissful nature of or moksha kind of environment in Brahmananda. So that is what it is. A misunderstanding to think, as do the monists, that one gets relief from the process of birth and death. He merges into the Supreme Brahman. He gets some temporary relief, but because the soul is always pleasure seeking and it also needs a reciprocation, when that is not available, it again falls down, again into the cycle of birth. See, one got the moksha, but again coming back. But Krishna says one who goes to him never comes back. That is beyond Brahmananda. That is the personal realization of Supreme Lord. That is the bhakti, the process of bhakti, and it brings us to that platform. So here it is clearly said that transcendental bliss derived from Shravanam Kirtanam by pure devotees cannot be compared. Brahmananda is nothing compared to what bliss devotees experience. And then again it says that Karmi's position is most degraded because of all the three, Jnani and Yogi, somehow they get some bliss. But Karmi's position is like, I'm going to do this, I'm going to get that benefit. Degraded, so that's why he gets a lower position like Swargaloka, heavenly planets, by all his pious credits. But advanced devotees, they go into Brahmananda realization and do that. And not devotees, yogis and jnanis. And he stated, Yanti Deva Vrata Deva. There is a verse in the 9th chapter. It's saying, whoever is thinking about the devas, they go into the devas after they leave their body. Persons who worship the demigods are elevated to the heavenly planets. And elsewhere it is also written in the same chapter, in the 21st verse, it says, Kshine Punye Matya Lokam Vishanti. There is actually there that when you have Punya, then go into the heavenly planets, and Kshine Punye, again it come back to the world, again take another body in the womb of another mother, and then again start the process again. So life continues. The cycle of birth and death continues. There is no cure. Even for karmis, it's there. For jnanis, we also saw that they also come back. Why? Because they even cannot find happiness in the Brahmananda for a longer time. They also come back. So here, they are like the modern astronaut. Then Srila Prabhupada gives the analogy that modern astronaut, when they go to the moon, they go there, but they can be there till there is fuel. Once the fuel is finished, they have to return back. That's what happens. So here, and then there is Antakasi Lulitat is there. Antaka Asi, the sword of Antaka or death. Lulitat means by cut, by means the effect of when somebody is hit through the sword, what happens? There is destruction. So by the sword of time, one is cut from his exalted position within this material world, and he comes down again. This is for the karmis. He comes down again because his punya is finished. Dhruva Maharaj appreciated that the results of devotional service are far more valuable than merging into the absolute or being elevated to the heavenly planets. And then Srila Prabhupada tells about Patatam Vimanat. See, he just gives an example that it's a Viman which is going in aeroplane going, but after the fuel finishes, it has to come down. Same way, it is analogy of a person of karmi mentality. He does pious credits, go into the heavenly planets, completes all the pleasures he wants to enjoy, and after enjoying again come back. to the material realm and again takes birth. So what message is for us? That we should engage in bhakti, and in bhakti there is a bliss which is obtained by serving the lotus feet of the Lord and hearing Krishna Katha and the association of pure devotees. So those are very important, and nothing is compared to that in this world or in any worlds or any universe. So I'll pause here and look for any realizations, any questions.